risk and reward are two sides of the same coin. And so that's why I'm really curious though, because you hooked that hit, but it seems like you're back on your feet.
This is the second time it happened. Okay.
Part 4. Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys, where Joe is about to get into his $1 million loss, and we're going to hear from Eric Way on what he thinks about it.
All right, so the context here is, like, we were talking about earlier that even though you think this is what you want, you achieve that point, and then you get there and you're like, well, actually, it's not really fulfilling. Like in Eric's example, he went to Harvard. And then he was like, well, actually, I think there's more. And then he got into Wall Street and all that stuff, right? And I think there's been several moments in my life where I feel like I hit that pinnacle of, wow, this is great, right? And then we were just getting to the story of like how much I lost in 2022. I think that's when the crash happened.
Yeah, with Luna.
Right. So I was on a high, like I was in the new like marriage. I just bought my new house. Like I had over, $2 million just like sitting there. And then like I remember telling Bart at that time, like or feeling that I was lacking something. There was a void, and I was waking up with like crazy anxiety, just these weird, I don't know if you call them panic attacks, but I would wake up in the middle of the night and my heart's racing like a tiger just chased me. And there's nothing to worry about. And it went on for probably about a good, I recognize it was happening in 2021. And I started realizing that maybe I've been living with this all my life. I just don't know, right? But around that time, 2022, Luna crashed. In 48 hours, we lost, in the circle of our friends, just $5 million, like just in thin air. Like it's not a crash of the market where you wait it out, and then when it goes back up, you can probably like come out alive. That's just money that we just threw into a fire, and you're not getting that back. So what was crazy is at that time I was also building Junbi Waikiki. Mm-hmm. So, and then we were we got the news that we're gonna be now $200K like over budget
for the build.
Yeah. We gotta get, because during COVID, a lot of people like that's in construction, they know there was a lumber shortage, and on top of that, Hawaii, you got to ship things over. There was also a shortage from containers coming from China to the U.S. All of these things jacked up the costs for construction. There was a lot of issues, worker shortages, all this stuff, right? So there were just layers of all of a sudden, I'm on this like, I have everything, I should be happy. I have nothing in 48 hours, boom. So I lost 1.6 mil. I had to get a loan out, like 100K, to finish the build. So I was over leveraged. And then my income wasn't meeting my monthly, right? And then so I was in a position of, all right, how much do I have in the bank account? It was depleting. I probably had like 20K left. And I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do at this point? But I had to just figure it out. And so at this point too, we're living in like 3 cities. So we're just hopping back and forth, right? So the weirdest thing happened is when I got to Hawaii and we just started to finish up the build, every morning I would wake up at 5 a.m. and then start working on how to get this finished. And then the next thing was get the store opened. After the store is open, start making sales. And it was like, now there was a uphill battle. I started getting happier and happier and happier. And it was a weird kind of like moment, because I thought I wanted a lot of money and freedom. But I just love slavery, is what I realized.
It's pretty tight.
So I had to enslave myself.
Cool.
No, and then I remember, telling my wife this, one of the happiest moments was, so my 2 nephews joined me on the project.
Yeah.
When they came in, they were kind of timid and shy and whatever.
Yeah.
But by the time they came out of it, they were giving people instructions. They were making friends. They're like,
They had leadership.
they had leadership qualities, and this all happened in less than a year.
Wow.
And I remember one Christmas, it was me, my wife, and my nephew, all three of us running the shop from open to close, right? And we were dead tired, and they probably hated it, but I was alive. Like, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I'm making drinks, and I'm doing it with my family, and I'm spending time with my family on Christmas Day, serving customers, and we have the store open, and this is fun. And I don't know, like, to me, I'm like, maybe, you know, it's the imagination of what I wanted didn't connect with the reality. The reality is I love to work toward projects with people that I care about. So whether it be in a little pizza shop, or we're doing mega deals like negotiating commercial real estate, or a YouTube channel, I don't care. I just don't like doing it alone. I like to do it with people. Yeah. But yeah. hey, I should be hugging you because you were in that mess with me, bro.
Yeah, I also lost 1.6 million. I just don't like to talk about it.
You lost 1.6 million too?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
How the fuck was it exactly the same? Holy shit.
The difference was you probably lost 1.6 million of just your own money.
Yes.
I lost 1.6 million. That was a combination of mine and like my company's money. and
Oh,
stuff
that
like
must have
too.
been like horrible.
Yeah, way worse. Yeah, but that's why I don't talk about it.
So what do you think?
Yeah, what did you think about? What was going through your mind during the whole like Luna everything?
So 2-3 thoughts just on that, and then a few thoughts on Terra and Luna and crypto. My first thought is what you shared, that constant anxiety. I feel that too. And this goes back to my earlier point. When you go and do something of your own, you're stupid, or it's like someone hurt you. Because for me, I almost feel like there's this hole in me that's always going to be there. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it's Asian parents. Maybe it's desire for external validation. But I've realized nothing ever really fills it up. And if I weren't working, I don't know what I would do. And I think so much of it is because I'm used to working. I'm used to having problems, and I think about it. I work it through in my head. When I go to bed each night, I play through what could I have done better that night before? What can I do better the coming day? The issue is then when things are fine, I'm useless. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm so used to feeling like I'm always under battle and turmoil that what you described, that feeling of shit, here we are, that's how I feel all the time. And that's also why I thought this to myself, why am I doing this company Carrot with my co-founder? Because I could have stayed in tech, I could have stayed in finance. On a risk-adjusted basis, probably would have made more money and had way easier of a lifestyle, but I would have been bored. And I describe it always as from a stress level, from a day-to-day basis, higher than if I had stayed in the conventional life. But from an existential basis, I feel better.
Exactly, that's what it is. Yeah.
I believe there's no inherent meaning in life, but you get to choose what that meaning for you is going to be, and that's how you stay sane. For me, my meaning is kind of like what you described. I want to do cool shit that I like with friends that I like. And it reminded me, you said that you did the YouTube channel, what was it, 7 years, no paycheck?
Yeah, ish,
something like that. And you said people actually stuck with you through it. And eventually, you know, you gave them a big 6-figure bonus or whatever, but for years they didn't. To me, I hear that. I think number one, that is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And number two, you have built real relationships, because that means it's not just you believing in the journey. It's that you had other people believing in there with you. That's incredible. So that's my first thought. Just hearing you describe that state of, I felt really empty, and then weirdly, when this big setback happens in your life, you rally together, you feel fulfilled again, you're doing it. I identify with that really, really strongly. To be honest, it's something I'm still trying to work out in therapy. Am I ever gonna just be content? Am I ever gonna be happy? You know, my girlfriend the other day, she was like, you're never grateful. And I'm like, no, I'm grateful. Grateful to be here, to be alive, to have you, to have my friends, still be getting to do what I'm getting to do. And I thought about it, and I'm like, but there's always this edge of impatience that it could all go away, that I need a problem to solve, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it's kind of something that drives entrepreneurs. It's like a little bit of sadistic, like paranoia, but at the same time self-inflicted pain, but at the same time you need a challenge to like run uphill towards something. Why? I don't know. But if you really boil it down, it's like, it's non-consequential. Like, really, how much do we need to survive? My bar is so low that like I don't even know why I'm getting into something that requires so much like high pay when I don't even live on that. And then at the same time, I don't even care about it, right? So like material things come and go, but then it's almost like points in a game, and it's almost like warfare without violence. So I don't know, it's like a high stakes game to me.
And some people want to be a cog in the machine, and like they're cool with that, and like you need that if you want the machine to work. But some people want to build the machine, you know what I mean? I just think that like if you're a builder, then you're a builder.
I think most people want to be a cog because there's so much responsibility, causes so much anxiety.
And you need them. Builders need them. So it's just like, who are you is all. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just some people are meant to be certain things, you know?
But can we get that fulfillment like working for someone? Because I don't.
Some people
I
do
never
is what I'm
tried.
saying. Like it's.
I honestly think you can. I think you just have to find the right boss. So I think that's what happened with me. I think my first taste of entrepreneurship actually wasn't even entrepreneurship. It was actually in the military, and through my boss, shout outs to Nabil, the first lesson he taught me was like, you need to try to take my job when I try to take my boss's job. So because of that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like, as soon as I understood my duties, what of his duties could I do? And then so through that kind of mindset, I unintentionally became his COO. I created efficiencies. We were done. All the tasks we needed to do, we finished by 1 p.m. every single day. Things were way faster. I was ahead of schedule. Like if we had to do let's say wall-to-wall inventory once a year, I know it's gonna come around in October. I already finished it in August. Like all the books, everything was already pre-done. So I was already in this entrepreneurial like mindset. And had I stayed in the military, I think I would have been content just moving up with him. But then it was because I left, I had other goals, I was trying to do the whole Asian pre-med thing or whatever, that every other boss, I was like, dude, I could outthink you. I don't think I'm gonna stick with you for very long. But I think if you meet someone, like let's say you meet like an Elon or whatever, that's probably why like Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs just stuck together, because they just had such a good pairing and they can keep working together like that. But I think you have to find the right person.
Yeah. Because it's, to me, maybe that's the thing is I find that like the fun with partnerships, and I haven't yet found a company, or maybe no one would hire me.
Yeah, that's true. I always wanted, I think throughout life when I was growing up, I wanted to be a cog so badly. Like I wanted to just have a job, like a normal job. But I couldn't get a job. I couldn't even get hired at Sunglass Hut.
Damn.
And like,
Why? They just look at you and go, nah.
Yeah, I mean, I was stuck in that when I was working at the mall, like when I was like 17 or 18, and it was like, it was the whole thing of like, where have you worked before? Like nowhere. Okay, well then we can't use you. It was just that over and over and over.
How do I get a job if I need to have a job already?
I was almost forced into entrepreneurship because I couldn't get a job. And then I always was like so bad at school that like I could never envision myself landing a career like that as much as I wanted it.
Did you guys see it different? Like a job is here and entrepreneur is here.
Yeah.
Because I saw it as kind of, well, maybe it's because my parents had a music school. So it was a big blend of like it was like unorthodox labor, right? Like he would go to different homes, teach music. I would just trail along, or people come to our house, or he would go to different choirs, and then he would perform and make money that way. My mom had a regular job, and then they never really said one was dangerous or the other. And it was like, I just saw all of it as a way to make money.
Yeah,
I didn't
I never
really see
even
it as,
defined it as like entrepreneurial like aspects. I just saw it as I can't get a job, so I'm kind of good at dancing. If I get better, maybe that can float me until I get a job. And then my background of dance and music just kept getting better and better because I never got a job. And then I just started doing that. And then before I knew it, it was like, oh, this is now sustaining me enough, and I actually enjoy it. But it was done out of, not done out of, like, I wasn't that like hotshot guy that's like, I'm gonna make it in dance. There was no vision for that.
So for you, it was necessity. Like, I need money. These guys won't hire me. I gotta figure it out.
It was just coincidence. It really was. It was like I did that side for fun, but the whole time I was trying to get a job.
Yeah. I think the best thing that happened to us was the economy crashing in 08. Because we graduated in 09, and we couldn't find a job that was decent.
Yeah.
I went back to working in shipping that I left to go to college for.
Yeah.
And then Bart was gonna, what were you, tutoring kids or something?
Yeah, I was a math tutor.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck this shit.
You saying that?
Hey, he added up 50,000 and 50,000. Makes sense. It's even.
Yeah.
But imagine if we, right out of college, you know how they call it golden handcuffs? Well, ours would have been silver. But but imagine if immediately we got jobs that were stable, that were paying the bills. It would have been even much harder to take a chance at YouTube.
For sure.
But because we were like, this is a shit option, might as well try YouTube, that actually worked in our benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys did
What
that.
was your second point on the whole Luna? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it sort of ties to. There's something when you're working for someone else, that's labor you're putting in, and you get salary out, and if you find someone that's inspirational, where you feel you get to grow, that's really good. But a lot of people don't feel that because you also don't get to build something of your own. You don't get to build capital of your own. And there's this famous economist named Thomas Piketty. He wrote a book where he said, returns on capital exceed returns on labor. And all that means is if you're someone who really owns an asset, like your own company you've built, or like real estate, like a house, the rent you earn on that is higher than people just working. If you own a stock, you earn more of that over that than someone who's just literally making a salary. And over the past few years, people have realized that. That's why there's this wealth gap. That's why there's so much rage around the state of the economy. One of the reasons why crypto's popped up so much is suddenly there's a brand new asset class that the traditional moneyed, privileged folks, they're like, psh, this isn't gonna work. They don't get into it, but it's doing well. For the first time, a lot of us can get in on something early and own something that can appreciate. Like you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2010, that is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And you get to feel for the first time what it's like to be a capital owner who sees gains in what you have because of decisions you made rather than just working for it. And because crypto was so early, people were able to get into it even if they didn't really have that privileged background. Now to bring this all back, one of the functions of crypto is actually just that speculation and wealth appreciation. There's other benefits, right? People talk about, hey, how crypto is going to increase access because you can make payments better. There's smart contracts, so you can do cool things like, split up real world assets. Like we can all invest in a treasury bond together through crypto. There's NFTs, but a lot of it, people just get into crypto because they're like, hey, I can see the price rise. What's really scary is because this ecosystem is so new, there are a lot of rug pulls. There are a lot of times where it doesn't go well. And so when I hear your story, I'm hearing, like I said, 2-3 things. Number one, you are driven by a need to excel, to combat problems. You feel fulfilled when you're doing that. Yeah. Number two, hey, you made a bet in crypto. This one didn't pay off, but from a more macro perspective, that's why crypto is so popular right now, because all of us finally see something that we can take advantage of and be an asset owner. And number three, crypto is fucking terrifying. Like,
that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. It's in a weird, perverse way, right? Like, risk and reward are two sides of the same coin. And so that's why I'm really curious though, because you hooked that hit, but it seems like you're back on your feet.
This is the second time it happened. Part 4. So the first thing, my buddy got me into this because he was early on Bitcoin. He's not here today, Steve Green.
Is he on a yacht right now? Is that why?
No, he died with all of us.
Oh, okay.
He got Ethereum super early on.
It was like $8 or something.
Yeah. Made like 300-400 grand, right? That's around the time we met him. And he was telling me, but when was this? Like 2012, I don't know, 14. But every end of the year, like gold usually goes down. So like in December, I would have this thing where whatever I would buy gold coins. And he goes, you should get Bitcoin. I barely knew this guy, and I'm like, man, that sounds like a scam, right? During that time, Bitcoin was the same exact price as an ounce of gold. It was like $1,000. So I'm like, dude. And that year, I bought 20 grand worth of gold. So imagine I would have had 20 Bitcoin from that point on. When Ethereum went up, I said, all right, I'm listening to you. So we got into a bunch of alts. We flipped it up. We went into this coin called Omisego. And when the crash happened, we got it up to like, I got my stack up to like 800K. And then it crashed. And then everything dipped. So during the bear, everything just like went down. So bear meaning like when the market crashed, like I still can hold my coins. And so I just waited it out until 2021. And my dollar value was around 100 grand. I think my principal I put in was about $300,000. So when it started to pick back up, Steve called me up and he said, Joe, I'm getting out of this coin. It's probably gonna be like the peak of what it is. They're transitioning the crew, they're restructuring. I think they're out. So he got all of us to start moving it into projects that he thought were good. And so what we all did is we flipped whatever stack we had at the time through different coins all the way up until 7 figures. So we traded that whole year, we got to that point, and then we dumped the rest in Terra Luna, like 90% of our stack. And I wish I knew fundamentals of like investing. Like I would have siphoned off certain amounts. I wouldn't have like put all my eggs in one basket. I learned after the fact, right? But like I was just gambling, and my gamble paid off at the time. But then when it wasn't even a crash, it was an attack, and then the whole thing lost its value. When that happened, that's when the total wipeout happened. Yeah. But that was just a crazy time.
It was fun though.
It was really fun. But at the end of the day, I think
They're alive. I had a good time. I didn't lose as much, but I had a good time.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, the thing is earning potential, right? So like if I was working at a grocery store, that's my cap.
Yep.
But for me, I know that there's things I can do to probably make that back and some. So I use that as motivation to go back out there and learn more about business, learn more about finance, like, you know, maybe be more calculated and cautious. So that was just a good learning experience where I'm like, yeah, I lost, but technically I'm only down 150K my principal. Wow. So it's, yeah, I lost a 1.6, but I mean, come on, like think about it. It's just pretend air numbers, right? It's not
Paper money.
Yeah, unless I cashed out, I don't realize it. So it's like whatever.
Is this boy math? Are
It's
we doing
boy math.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, see, I think that's why crypto is so interesting. It's like this really weird mix of holy shit, I can actually buy an asset and own something that's going to make me money when I'm sleeping, which a lot of people don't get access to. The crazy speculation, and there is a lot of beliefs around there's going to be real underlying utility around this other than pictures of monkey gifs. And so like you have this like really weird mix of like true believers who are like, this will change the world. And then you have people who are like, I don't actually really care and don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm just gonna like write it and see. And then what makes it even harder is, let's talk about utility perspective. No one today really knows. There are really smart people who fundamentally believe it's gonna change everything. And there are people like Warren Buffett who think it's like a giant fucking scam. And then you're kind of sitting there and you're like, well, I have to decide. Exactly, I have to decide for myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
But in a way, like when else has there been a chance to make that decision on such a scale
that's
where
true.
you can make and lose hundreds of thousands than today?
Yeah.
With regarding Luna, like when that crashed, was that something that you foresaw at all?
No. Dude, if I did, I'd be on a yacht. I think
You bet against it.
like when I think how do I invest, how do I bet in crypto, I believe in the fundamental ecosystem that, as I said, this concept of you should have a decentralized ledger. That is valuable because then money can move around without needing a centralized authority to gate access and charge fees. That is helpful from an access POV. Second, the fact that it's a hedge against inflation. There's like a limited number of Bitcoin. It's like around 21 million that's ever gonna be there. There's like 18 million that's been minted already. It's presumably gonna be able to store its value, which is like another core function of like why money is important in the first place. Third of all, like the fact that there is this ledger everyone can see, that's actually good from a transparency POV, which unlocks a whole bunch of other things. Like NFTs, the whole reason why an NFT even gives a shit is because I can see I'm the only one who owns this on this globally distributed database. I can prove I have this, like interesting comes come out of that from a verification POV. Number 4, as I said, smart contracts. The fact that, hey, we can code in a contract, like I'm now gonna give you X dollars, and I don't know, I'm gonna make this up. If the weather in Zambia hits like 15 degrees, you're gonna pay that back to me and have that in a code. That's really powerful. I hear all of these potential use cases. I'm like, I believe in this. Now today, those use cases are really better than conventional money moving around, which is why no one from a mainstream perspective is really using crypto. Because like everything I just said, guess what? You're distributed, like your globally decentralized ledger, it's slow as fuck to move things around. Sometimes it's more expensive. Oh, guess what? To have a decentralized ledger and network, it's really confusing for normal people to know how to use it. You know, when you go and log into Coinbase and you make an account, Coinbase has your private key. Like, they're holding on to access of your funds. You are now participating in a decentralized network via a centralized institution.
Yes.
If Coinbase goes down, you will also lose your money. And you sit there and you're like, well, that seems dumb as fuck. And then you realize how many people are actually gonna learn how to use hot wallets, cold wallets, you know, memorize and know what a private key is, know the underlyings of this ecosystem. So the network is slow, sometimes it costs money. There's such a barrier for people to understand what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these use cases, they're still speculative. Like the NFT case, it's great that I can have social proof that, hey, I have this thing and it's really cool. Like, well, what does it actually do for you? Not really clear yet. And so I don't think we figured it out. I think it will be decades until those actual use cases described come to promise. But in the meantime, there's gonna be crazy speculation in the markets. Like we're in a bull run in crypto right now. Like, why? Like, you know, people say, oh, because, you know, Bitcoin's halving, or like the Bitcoin ETFs are out, or like the S&P 500 is doing well. It really comes down to, there's this economist named John Maynard Keynes in the 1920s when the Great Recession was happening. All the economists lost their fucking minds because they thought all this shit is temporary, it will correct itself. And then it wasn't. And that's because Keynes said a lot of the economy is driven by what he calls animal spirits. All that means is people are emotional fucking monkeys and we lose our minds on stupid shit, and the economy doesn't really work the way that
That's what you always say.
Animal spirits. And what that means is maybe long term I believe crypto is gonna succeed in this, you know, who the fuck knows long time. In the meantime, it's just speculation. Who the fuck knows why Bitcoin's doing well?
Yeah.
And so when you make investments, you have to go into it with the mind like, easy come, easy go. Like I don't know. But underlying, if you hold on to long enough, there could be something.
That's why technical analysis is bullshit.
Yeah, like, no, it's like, I'm gonna look, it went up here, it's gonna go down, I'm looking at the candles.
You're looking at a graph. You're not thinking about the humans in the news and how they're affected.
I don't believe in technical
And what
analysis.
Kramer says.
No, dude, Kramer's the truth.
Oh, you know, someone made an index fund. That's the anti-Kramer
Yeah,
fund. They
inverse
bet
Kramer,
against
yeah.
anything he says. They're like, we're gonna go the other way, boys.
And they're up, right?
I think they're up, they've been down. I'm more just like, here's someone, and this goes to the point on like brand and what you said, the margins on content. Yeah. We're in a very weird world where your actual competency at something, Kramer, case in point, is sometimes less valuable and important than just people think that you know what you're talking about.
That's true, yeah.
But that's why it also ties back to crypto because it's so new and there's so much speculative value. So much of whether a crypto token does well is driven by how much can you Kramer people? And just be like, this will be a thing.
Yeah.
He works better as a verb.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a verb. Yeah.
He's better as a verb for sure.
Wow.